What's up, Historian Kid viewers? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going deep. Today, we're diving into a story about a queen. Maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't. But either way, I think her story will absolutely blow you away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, today we're talking about Queen Louisa of Prussia.
Prussia? Huh. Okay, I'm intrigued.
And to help us tell this story, we're looking at the forgotten queen who outsmarted Napoleon.
Ooh, that title. It's a good one, I'll give you that. I mean, outsmarted Napoleon, that's setting the bar pretty high, don't you think?
It really does. I mean, just from the title alone, you can tell this is going to be a story about a woman of incredible strength, incredible intelligence, and incredible resilience.
Definitely. Not just some queen sitting pretty on a throne, right?
No, not at all. So let's dive in. Just who was this Queen Louisa of Prussia? What made her so remarkable, especially during such a turbulent time in history?
Right. Well, first, you got to try and imagine living in Prussia during the Napoleonic Wars. I mean, we're talking about a time when your country is literally being overrun by Napoleon's armies. They were thought to be invincible at that point.
Yeah, Napoleon and his armies were steamrolling across Europe. Nobody could stop them.
Exactly. So imagine how terrifying that would be. And here you have Queen Louisa. Suddenly she becomes this beacon of hope for her people, and she wasn't just a figurehead, waving from a balcony.
Right.
She actually used her position to influence events, to try and protect her nation.
The book mentions all of her efforts to try and improve the lives of everyday Prussians, even as Napoleon was breathing down her neck.
Oh, absolutely. Louisa was deeply, deeply concerned about the well-being of her people. Like, for instance, she championed education reform.
Education reform, in the middle of all that chaos.
Yeah. She believed that if you had an educated populace, you had a strong nation. She was also a huge supporter of the arts and culture. She saw them as being vital for the spirit and identity of Prussia.
That's so interesting. Sometimes it's easy to forget that historical figures were real people, with their own hopes, their own dreams, their own anxieties.
For sure. They weren't just names in a textbook. They were living, breathing people grappling with very real problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Queen Louisa was clearly so much more than just a queen. She was a leader who truly cared about her people.
No doubt about it.
But okay, now let's talk about what is perhaps the most famous episode in Queen Louisa's life. And it's a big part of why we're calling her the forgotten queen who outsmarted Napoleon. That's her legendary meeting with Napoleon himself.
Ah, the meeting.
And there's this detail in the book that really stuck with me. Apparently, she wore her most beautiful dress for this meeting. What was the strategy behind that? Why would she do that?
Well, think about it from her perspective. I mean, her kingdom has just been defeated.
Right.
Her armies have been crushed. Her only hope, at least at that moment, is to try and appeal to Napoleon directly, to try and get him to show some leniency toward Prussia. But the thing is, Napoleon was known for his ego.
Of course, Napoleon's ego was legendary.
Exactly. So Louisa knew that, and she basically used it to her advantage. By showing up in her most stunning attire, she aimed to make an impression, a lasting one. She was trying to appeal to his sense of chivalry. She wanted to remind him that she wasn't just some defeated monarch, but a woman worthy of respect.
I see. So it was almost like a calculated risk, a power move in its own right.
Exactly.
So that big question, did it work? Did Napoleon take the bait? How did he react to this incredibly brave, incredibly bold gesture?
Well, it didn't immediately lead to any big concessions from Napoleon. He wasn't exactly swayed on the spot, but it did have a lasting impact. Louisa, she was smart. She skillfully engaged Napoleon in conversation. She brought up their shared cultural heritage, and she reminded him of the potential consequences of being too harsh on Prussia. Like the risk of future uprisings and things like that. And while Napoleon didn't change his mind right there and then, a lot of historians believe that her courage and her eloquence really left an impression on him, and that it actually, over time, led to a more moderate approach towards Prussia.
Wow, so she was playing the long game, thinking about the future of her people, not just immediate gains. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the long game, how did her actions ultimately shape her legacy? I mean, the book calls her the forgotten queen, but clearly she had a huge impact, right? Especially when we think about German nationalism.
Oh, 100%. I mean, she might not have achieved a military victory or anything like that, but Queen Louisa, she became this incredibly powerful symbol of German resistance, of the yearning for a unified Germany.
It almost seems counterintuitive. A defeated queen becomes a symbol of strength and defiance.
Well, that's the power of symbolism, right? Her image, often with her children, it was used to really evoke those patriotic feelings. Her story was told again and again, always emphasizing her courage, her grace, her unwavering commitment to her people. In a way, she kind of became a martyr for the cause of German unity, and that's something that really resonated with people. It had a huge impact on the future of Germany.
It really is incredible how one person, even when facing seemingly impossible odds, can still make a difference. Queen Louisa's story is a testament to the power of courage, of wit, and of a deep, unwavering love for one's people.
It really makes you think, though, doesn't it? How might history have unfolded differently if she hadn't done what she did?
It's a question worth pondering, for sure. And on that note, I want to thank all of you Historian Kid viewers out there for joining us on this deep dive into the life of Queen Louisa of Prussia.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating deep dives into history. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.